Okay, good afternoon, folks. Sorry, I hate it when it does that. I don't know why it does that. It's all right. Let me just write down the... we got high impact news coming up. So, let's not forget that. Okay, so I hope everyone is well. Funny day yesterday. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry, I'm not focusing. iPad news. Funny day yesterday. It was a short day for me. We had parents' evening. My daughter finishes school this year. She goes to college, so we had to go and just get her all prepared, ready for exams. So, and not a moment too soon, to be honest, because something wasn't afoot. It was obviously rhythmic, I found out later. So, if anybody had any negative accounts because of rhythmic, I believe they've been reset, or they're going to be reset. So, it didn't affect me because, well, obviously I finished early. Always reset, yeah. So, happy days. So, yeah, I believe as well, if you made any profit, that's fine anyway. But I even had profit in the ones that traded before. Good on you, mate. Yeah, I've got to say, maybe a year or so ago, I actually blew 5 accounts and there was a problem with Rhythmic and they reset them. So I got them all back. So, occasionally it goes in your favour. So, right, I've been looking at this. It's a bit hard to sort of make head and tail of this, really, is it? It doesn't really make much sense. So, have we had a break? Is this a break? I'd probably say this probably looks about right. It's fitting at the bottom. So, I'll probably suggest we've had a break in the way of 2. It's actually a triple test. If I could have traded that, I would have done. Because we're clearly coming down. We made 1, 2, 3 attempts, and there is a higher low, a failure there, which is trapped. So I would have taken that if I had the opportunity, which would have comfortably given me 3 points. But sometimes they're really worth holding on there. But there was a potential 12 points plus there. So, Speedy, how you doing, buddy? Karina, good morning to you. Powell at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, yeah. So, we'll just keep an eye on that. I'm going to actually find out a way of getting some sort of a flashing indicator. John, how you doing, pal? Wouldn't it be nice to have some sort of a flashing indicator to have this? Because sometimes, even if I've got that right in front of my eyes, you're focused on the price action, and sometimes you can miss what's right at the end of your nose. And it only takes once to accidentally trade that in with a bunch of accounts, and it could potentially do you some damage. So it'd be nice to have something like this which flashes, or even just the screen which flashes. 5 minutes before, and then one quick flash every minute, something like that to give you I'm going to look. I wonder if there is something like that. There's bound to be something. I mean, we all know how potentially bad it can be trading into the news. There's bound to be something. So, market is open. I can trade. Let me just check all my accounts.
Order submitted.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Beautiful. Everything
Order
as
canceled.
is. Yeah, okay. So that's definitely a break and a new low. So for me, I would say this is now moving up. How far it goes is another thing, because there kind of is some support there. So Ryan, how you doing, bud? Who's the handsome guy? Cameras make you look younger, mate, I think. When did you start to... I think... it was the beginning of last week, wasn't it? I think it was the beginning of last week. Do you know the strange thing is, I know I can't see you guys, but a lot of you guys have been sort of chatting with me daily for like 2 years now. So I think sometimes it's nice to see who you're talking to, isn't it? I mean, I did spare you the unfortunate not seen me for 2 years, so. But But yeah, sometimes it's nice to see someone you're speaking to have a face, and you listen to me every day. Sometimes it's nice to see you looking or you're talking to. So it's just me, my little puppy Wilson down there in the room today. Yeah, this is definitely. But yeah, I think it's better that you get to know people. I think a bit better, don't you? I mean, we're work colleagues. We spend 3 hours of the day together every single working day of our life, more or less. So, it is strange when you kind of can't see somebody. So, I think it was about time I sort of came clean, so to speak. So, look. I thought you had a beard. I have in the past, but it just, I don't know, I could never grow them that well, to be honest with you. I've got kind of, what's the word? It's not that, I've not got one of these really thick kind of manly type beards. But I've had a go at them a few times. My wife makes me keep mine, cover my face. In fact, when I grew it first, my wife said she didn't like it, but then when I had it, she liked it. And she said I looked flipping odd when I shaved it off. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? But they're definitely fashionable, aren't they? They're a lot more fashionable than they kind of used to be. I'm just trying to find a photo with it. Can't find one now. So I've had a go a few times. Can't find any photos now. Nothing we can do here at the moment anyway. Market's doing out. Can't find any photos now. I did have one. Oh. There's one of me. This was my growing a beard and balloon modelling time. It was supposed to be a flower. My daughter wanted some balloon modelling stuff, so that's it's supposed to be a flower, but it looked like something else. But yeah, you can see it's not super thick, is it? So it just doesn't. I don't know. Yeah, it looked okay, but it's just not. It's not sort of mega super thick. Yeah, it was supposed to be a flower. Didn't work that way. So we've got some support here, we know, so that might have been why we had a little pullback here. What are you pestering me for, you? Hey. What's the matter? Come on then. Come on then. Up, come on. Oh, where's my puppy? Wilson. Hello. Go on down there. Go, boy. Okay, so when's this news coming up? We have got about 22 minutes, something like that, so it's not too bad. Well, I say puppy is 6 now. We got 2 cockapoos. We nicknamed him Wilson because if anybody's seen the everybody's seen the thank you. Everybody's seen what is it? Tom Hanks' Castaway. So when we take him out for walks and you shout Wilson, you get some you hear some grins. Yeah, he's not so much a puppy now. Well, yeah, he's 6, but yeah, it's a great film, that, isn't it? I love it. He's great, Tom Hanks, isn't he? He's one of he makes some fantastic films. Friday night dinner. What's that? Friday night dinner. What am I missing? You should get me. You can actually buy those, can't you? You can actually, yeah, you can get them, can't you? I have seen them actually. It's a great film, isn't it? Yeah, that's what we nicked it. Well, part of that as well, but I was always a fan of, I liked House, Hugh Laurie, and obviously there's a Wilson there, so it was a kind of combination between, hey Tony, how you doing, buddy? Ben, how you doing, mate? Sam, how are you? I've said hello to Ryan, I think. TDL, how you doing, bud? Have I missed anybody? I don't think so. Said hello to John. Said hello to Karina. Yeah, we're all in. Okay. So, news coming up in 20 minutes. Morning, bud. How you doing? So, Fed Chair Powell testifies. So, that's going to be more Friday night dinner. As Wilson. I got you. Brian Laurie. I watch clips. Yeah, I love Hugh Laurie. A brilliant actor, I think. Absolutely brilliant. Just that depth of character he got into in House. I love House. I thought it was great. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice just to speak to people however the hell you want, just once in a while? I noticed Denzel Washington's just officially retired as well, hasn't he? That's a shame. Everyone's just getting old quick. I can't believe he's in his 70s. Everyone's getting old. These actors and actresses are just getting old, aren't they? It's just, all of a sudden, they just seem to have got old overnight. Brian Laurie, yeah. So it's hard to know what to do here. 2 legs down, would you go long? The only issue I have is we've had a little bit of a bounce there, so there's always a possibility we come down and go sideways. Or am I just overthinking it? Have I heard the song St. James's Infirmary? No, I haven't, bud. Doesn't ring any bells. St. James's Infirmary, no. Hugh Laurie. Oh, he's kind of a... Well, I mean, he's a great pianist, isn't he? He can play the guitar, but in my opinion, he can't sing. He's not got a singing voice, has he? Although, if you know, as you know, he's a kind of jazz guy. I'm assuming it's some sort of jazz, but he's just not got a very good singing voice, is he? He's more of a speaky, talky kind of singer. Mind you, half the singers out there haven't got great voices, have they? Yeah. I like some jazz sort of stuff. But yeah, he's big on his jazz, isn't he? He's definitely a gifted. Well, he's a gifted everything, really, isn't he? He can sing. That's arguable. He can act. He's a great actor, I think, and he plays multiple instruments, doesn't he? Piano, guitar, probably whatever else, mouth organ or harmonica. You're not into jazz? No, I kind of wish I sort of was, because I kind of want to like it because it's. You know, it's kind of popular and it's supposed to be relaxing and all that sort of stuff. But I know some jazz I like, but some of the, you know, some of it's just a bit too deep for me. I'm into me stuff. Well, I'm more into me stuff like Coldplay, that sort of stuff. I was a big fan of Coldplay. Stacking up a little bit here, so we've got like a leg down and a bit of sideways, so it does look like it's going to push up. Trouble is, when we've had 3 bounces there and we've bounced again, you kind of you kind of feel you got to be a little bit cautious. It's not been easy price action lately, is it? It was nice to get Mac back last night. Morning, Daryl. How you doing, pal? Horrible day yesterday, I thought. The trouble is, after you can go back and go, okay, there was a trade there. I mean, there was a failure there, trapping some shorts. Mac marked that. When you can see it and you know what happened, but at the time, it's just hard to say. And the trouble is, when you don't have a lot of time to think, do you? You've got to make really quick decisions. And if there's a doubt, you kind of hold back. And then sometimes these trades just work. But I think things will just get easier and easier. Obviously, the more experience, year in and year on, the more experience you get. But that's the thing with price action. With scalping. It's very quick thinking. And I think that's why they recommend as newer traders, or as a newbie, not to scalp. But I never got that memo until about 2 years into it. So I didn't want to get involved in a trade here, and rightly so. There was we went sideways. There was a bullish bar off the key entry point, but then it ticked above and came down, and there is support here. So you have to just keep an eye on that, I think. So let's have a look. I've just seen Dan's chart, I think. Yeah, I think he's got that as a break. So leg and a leg. That will be a better reason to go long. But because we bounced so many times, I don't think I can bring myself to. So leg and a leg. If this went down, this would be a break. But do you really want to go long into this? Sometimes it doesn't make a difference, but on this occasion, I believe it may have done. God, I'm right full of cold. I am. I've been up half the night. Sore throat, runny nose, which is strange. I haven't been ill for ages. The trouble is, when you work from home and you don't mingle with other people, you don't tend to get ill as much. But just did their biggest 130,000. Wow. In India. I've been to see. I went to see Robbie Williams. I know a lot of you US guys don't know who he is so much, do you? But that was at Nebworth in, when was that? That's got to have been 20 years ago. It obviously was from Take That, but that was 125,000 people. That was 20 years ago, about 20 years ago. There was him there was Ash, there was Moby, there was Kelly Osbourne, and The Darkness as well. That was a good concert. But that was, 125,000. Fair old amount of people. Coldplay. I've never seen Coldplay live, but I would like to. They are just a great pop band, aren't they? Yeah, see a lot of you US guys into country. I kind of wish I liked country, but I mean, I suppose everyone likes a little bit of Kenny Rogers, I suppose, don't they? So maybe a little channel with a break. I don't know whether I want to go long into this. What's that ATR? That ATR is about where I like it. Tick above, tick below, 3-point risk. That would be on average, which is 3-point profit, 3-point risk. So I'd say it's a channel up. It looks like two legs. I'd like to get down a little bit lower. So we got 2 legs. It's very tempting. It is a doji, but it's 1 tick off closing on its highs. I'm just a bit concerned about the bounce off here. I think it'd probably work. But we have got this news coming up in about 9 minutes. So what I don't want it to do is be stuck going sideways. So I'm probably just going to stay out of this. Yeah, there's only a 1.75 to the top, so it's not the good time really. I would prefer that a little bit lower, but because it's the news, I just want to sit tight. I don't think it's a terrible trade by any means. There's just no space for me to the top. If you're getting a tick above it, you're going to get a point and a half if it gets to the top, because it's obviously got to push through 9 times out of 10. So it's just not in the ideal place at the ideal time for me. As I say, news is coming up in just over 8 minutes. So I've got no real issues with that being a channel. Touches a couple of times there, touches there, although it keeps bloody moving. So it looks okay as a channel. We've had that, you know, even if you just focus on this, we've had 2 legs back. So as I say, if you're going for 6 ticks or a point, I don't think it's terrible. Who knows? Yeah, that's the trouble when he speaks. Usually you kind of don't get fireworks. But so if it gets to the top, if you got on a tick there, you got a 1.5. Now I go for 3 points. And so, yeah, we've had that little pop out the top. It's just making me nervous going along into that. But as I say, I don't think it was a terrible trade. It's just clearly 2 legs back. I would just prefer that just a little bit lower. So, same again, it's struggling to close above that line there. So, my concern is we push down, we go sideways, we push down. So, going along at the moment, it's just making me a bit nervous. It's worked well. Are you on about that long there, bud, are you? See what I mean about that, though? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times we couldn't get through that. Yeah. Yeah, I said I don't think it was a bad trade. You'd have got a point. Well, you may have got 2 points, actually, but there was a 1.75 to the high from a tick above. But you've got to usually push through. So that was worth 1.5 to me. The only issue I have with it is the fact that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now we couldn't get through it. So there is a higher low there, but same again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times we've tried there. So I'd just rather sit tight at the minute. It's getting a bit close to that news now, 4.5 minutes away. Well, I say news. I don't think it's going to... Obviously, he'll be talking. It's not just going to pop like we get a report from something. So it may just flicker around a bit as he talks. I don't know how long he talks for. Yeah, see, Dan's just said I could see Mac marking that green. Yeah, absolutely. Green's about right. I'd have preferred it a little bit lower. I don't mind that it's a doji. At the end of the day, it's pushed right down and pushed right up, and it's finished a tick off its high. A doji, really, the fact it's open and close at best in the same place is kind of irrelevant, really. The fact is, it pushed down and then it pushed up one tick higher, which it might be on another chart. In fact, on this chart, it's a complete bearish bar. So it's only got to be one tick higher on someone else's chart, and it's a bullish bar. So I think it's good to go to the top. To take it up to the top, which exactly did what I thought it might do. My only issue I have with it is, one, I'd have preferred it a little bit lower to give us some more space, and two, I don't really want to get in for a 1.5. And three, it's rejecting that many times. It just adds that little extra concern, and obviously with the news approaching, which is why I'd say I agree a green double top sell for a point. Yeah. I mean, it is trying. If it does break above here, because you can, in fact, is that area broken? It is by a tick. So that area is broken, but I'd say it's a big bearish bar there. So I'd say that's where there's probably going to be stops. So, we got this big push down and a pullback. There may be a lot of people trading this for a second leg down. That's that. I'm just guessing that, to be honest with you, but they may be trading this for a bit lower. So obviously, if price is heading back up here and traders are trying to sell it, obviously the more times it sells off here, the less chance it's got of getting through. And there is a possibility that we may be ranging a bit. So that news is coming up in 2 minutes. Sometimes it's good to actually watch it that way. You can see when he talks. Let me see if it's on YouTube. Yeah, I've got it here. I think that's it, isn't it? It is live, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's good just to... in fact, I may just leave it there, actually. I've got it on mute. Until he starts talking, we don't need to sort of worry too much. Whose clicker are you using? Which news ticker are you using? When you say news ticker, where's that disappeared? You're just on about this. Where's that gone? Hold your horses. What channel is it? I don't know, it's just disappeared. It's just on YouTube. Oh, okay. It's called let's just make it a bit bigger. Happening now. Powell testifies before Senate. So started 18 minutes ago. 2,500 people watching it. Yeah. So it's just that. I'll make it a bit smaller. it kind of won't go off like like CPI or something like that. It won't have that same impact until he starts talking. Mind you, something's flickering around now, isn't it? So, I mean, it did push through that. So, it's definitely flickering around. So something out. Maybe the fact that it's just hit 3 o'clock UK time. So anyway, that's the trouble. Is every time I click on this chart now, it's gonna disappear. So he did what he was supposed to, channel up with a break new high, which is why I didn't want to go long there. Really, it came low and then pushed up, but there was enough. There was enough space to the highs there. So I'll just drag it aside and then I'll bring it on when I'll bring it in when he talks. Hopefully he doesn't talk for too long and then we can focus on what we're doing. So let's just make this overnight highs, overnight lows. So channel break, new high. That channel is now played out. Okay. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break a sec. I'll just leave that on there. He's not speaking yet, but it'll be incoming, I think. I'll be a quick minute. Okay. Well, that's not him. So he's not speaking as yet. So I'm just going to drag it out of the way, and as soon as I see his face appear, I'll bring it back in. Let's have a look. Okay, short-term trend channel. So channel break, new high played out. So it's always possible we get something like that, isn't it? Channel break. Anyway. Oh, that's strange. Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. So there may be a small break there. Definitely is now. Okay, channel break, new low. So, I mean, after that channel break, it moved up quite quickly, broke through all this, and then turned. So, which is why I've got this as a possible second leg down. And we've had a big, strong move up, so I don't know. Maybe we're covering some of this. Let's just have a little look here. Channel break, new low. So channel break, new low, channel break. Just waiting to see if we get a second push up there. So we've got a channel break, new high. There's always the possibility of something like that. It's a bit early, really, I think, to assume that, but that's kind of my thought process, especially as we've broken the highs for this and then immediately pushed straight down through that EMA. It's telling me we may get a second leg down here. There is a second entry short there, but I think it's a bit early. If that had finished below here a bit, it may not have been too bad. Channel break, new high. Okay, channel break, one attempt to go higher. Let's see what happens here. Okay, he is talking now. So depending on what he says, could create this to flicker. So I'm just going to keep an eye on him and just wait for him to finish, and then when he's finished, so channel break new height does seem to be finding a little bit of resistance there. Whether it's that leg down, a couple of attempts to push up and then down some more. It's possible. It's a bit sideways. It certainly is some. I mean, we know we got some rejection there. We can see it. Then it managed to push through. Well, it was when 3 o'clock hit, although it wasn't speaking, whether there was anything that came along with it. And it pushed through, but then immediately dropped back. So my gut feeling is telling me it may turn for me. Well, I mean, it's a hunch. That's all. You get used to seeing these, don't you? But not a hunch on enough of a reason just to drop a short in here. But that little channel's played out. That's played out. That's played out. That's funny. So that would be a second entry long there. Let's see if that triggers and then turns into a failure. Doesn't seem that way, does it? Is there a possibility of something like that? It's a bit early, really, isn't it? Well, I've got my brake thing on. Let's get rid of that. Okay, while it's a bit finicky, and Powell's talking, I'm just going to leave that on there, and I'm just going to make a quick cup of tea, and I'll be back in about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, still talking. Excellent. Okay. Right. Let's move them out of the way. I'll just keep an eye on them. I've got them above my head anyway. So what is going here? So let's forget that. More or less just ranging, I think, where the top will be. It's not ideal, is it? But let's bring that down to about there. No, let's leave it there. Trouble is, when it's going like this, it's hard to catch the direction. I don't think that was a terrible trade. Prefer the bar. In fact, I haven't reloaded my data today, so let's just reload it now. Beautiful. Just check there's no... It's possible. It's possible. Anybody else got that? I think it might be a bit early. No, I'm not a fan of it. No one else has got it. Okay, so let's see what goes here. I mean, there could be something larger there, that's for certain. That wouldn't be terrible. Push up, sideways, push up. Come on, pal, get on done with it. So, was there anything that I would have taken? That one, 100%. 2 pushes up. I like that trade. Unfortunately, it was early. I don't have mine set to trade till about 2 minutes or a minute after the open. So, but 2 pushes up, clearly coming down. I like that. I would have taken that. I looked at that one. The bar looks slightly different. I mean, it's still relatively bullish, but at the time, I had that like that. And there was clearly a little bit of resistance there. So it did what I expected it to get to the top, but I go for 3 points, and I just didn't want to go long there. If it had been down the bottom, I'd have done it for a couple of points, but then it came down, stopped out any longs that may have been in there, and then woof, up it went. So it was the right decision for me. I think Dan took it. He goes for 6 ticks, so he'd have got 6 ticks out of it. But for me, it was just not worth it, really. So that's now continued up. So So that would take us up to overnight highs, actually. So if we get 2 legs back to around about here somewhere, then that may interest me in going along, as long as it doesn't break out the top of there, which I don't think it's going to. Oh, how's crypto doing? At least I'm up a little bit on my Ethereum's up a bit. Bitcoin's still struggling to get back above that 100,000. Trouble is, one thing I've learned about crypto is you have to be patient. Looking at it every 5 minutes is a good idea. Just flickering around a bit. Doing today? I'm good. How are you? So far, so good. Possible failure out of this? Possible. Let's have a look. I'd prefer it to get down to here, really, if I was going to go along there. It is a second entry long, but it's too far from that key entry point, too far from the EMA, and I would prefer it to touch that. And ideally, it may do. Dodge loss for me, so not so bad so far. Yeah, it's if you can get out of it and not lose anything. There's just no room to the tops, although I think it'd probably go higher. But to be honest with you, for a decent position, I'd want one down here, really, to fail out of this and come down to sort of somewhere around about here. That, for me, would be the ideal scenario, anywhere around about there. key entry point, support. Move over, you bugger. Just going to open an order. In fact, no, I'm going to leave it till the last minute. You never know what Powell's going to say. Come on, take a drop. There is a little double bottom there, though. It's just not good enough for me. I've got to get down here early. Come on, pal. Say something negative and then positive straight after. That's what we want. Come on, come down. In fact, I can drop that a little bit because that still fits just as nice. So we're still in there at the moment. We're getting close to this side, which is a bonus. Got to get down here, really. Come on, drop. So Dan has got that. So if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. Get rid of that now. So leg back, another one would be nice down here somewhere. Okay, I was hoping it was going to break above there because that bullish bar is floating in the middle of bloody nowhere. So to me, if I took a trade like that, I'd expect to lose. So the fact that it's broken above there might get it down towards that EMA. So if we can get out the bottom here, so leg and a leg, second entry long, but it's got to get below there. If it breaks below there, it may drop a little bit and give us an entry. Fuck, I don't even like that anymore. Okay, so breaking a new high eventually. Come on, Powell. Excuse me. Slow going today. Slow going. Could be wrong, but I got a wider trend there. Yeah, I had that, mate, and I got rid of it. That there. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Trouble is, now that's broken and made a new high, I won't be looking for longs. Part because we're coming to the top here and the top of this larger channel. If indeed it is a larger channel. So for me, really, it's got to come back either to this midline or here somewhere. Yeah, I did have it, but in fact, I had it from there initially. But once it's got close to the top of here, you just got to kind of move's gone, really. Yeah. Trouble is, there's so many variations. I mean, you could even sort of, I looked at that as a spiking channel, and that kind of would fit better at the tops. So that's a possibility as well, in which case you definitely wouldn't want to go along there. So it's one of those things. If it goes a bit higher and fits from the bottom, that kind of would make sense. But trouble is, you can spend half a day, can't you, moving these things around, and sometimes they fit really well and really easy, other times they don't. What I will say is, what I do know is that fits beautifully. We've had a clear break and a new high. So, but it's not easy sometimes, is it? You kind of got to make the best of a bad situation sometimes, haven't you? That's the thing about trading. There's so much variation, and when you're trading and reading the markets, there's so many different calculations going on in your brain. Just, like when you're driving and you're driving down a motorway or freeway or whatever you call it, you're not thinking about what you're doing. Your brain's automatically taking over. And have you ever actually noticed when you're driving, you're doing that, aren't you? Just tiny little movements, and all that stuff is kind of going on in the background. So the more you do something, the more a lot of it can sort of take care of itself. And there's so much variation, and not only that, between you and me and Daryl and Sam and Ryan and Karina and Speedy, there's different levels of risk. Some people like second entries, some people prefer higher lows, some people love triple tests, some people love failures. We've all kind of got our favourites and the type of trade we tend to do better than others at. And then there's all those levels of risk. Some people will, play the numbers game, and if it's an okay risk, they'll take it. Other people, I prefer to have it right back at the EMA before I take a trade. Some people, they don't mind it being a little bit further away from the EMA. So there's so much variation, really, isn't there? It's such a massive subject, really, trading, isn't it? There's so much that does go on in the background of your brain that hopefully, the longer you do it, the more a lot of that takes care of itself. There we go, straight up to that. So that's the thing, really. Really, you'd never want to go long here. Well, I certainly wouldn't, because we're getting close to the tops. Not that I'd want to go short either, but look at that. It's pushed up and twice tapped that measured move, and we're right at the overnight highs now. So there's no setup there anyway. There's no way in. You can't just randomly buy up here. Obviously, some may do, but if traders got in down here, they may just be adding to it, which obviously continues to push it up. Different risk embracing. My read more. Yeah, there is. It's such a. See, the most difficult part of trading is applying what you've learned to the correct context, and that's the real skill. You can teach someone what a second entry is in a couple of minutes, can't you? But they've got to apply it to the right time and the right place, and there's so much going on the chart. You've got to think about overnight highs, you've got to think about overnight lows, support and resistance. There's so much to think about, and it's kind of why it's such a massive subject, and another reason why it's just not easy. It does take a lot of time. But I was listening to who was I listening to? I was listening to a trader talking about, the difficulty in learning to trade. And one of the things he said, you after a while, you kind of get a sixth sense for it. You kind of just know if something's going to work. And obviously that gets you to making better and better trades. And it's like in any job. I mean, if you're a doctor, I think training to be a doctor takes about 7 years, purely and simply because you can't just learn what you need to learn out of a textbook. You've got to get out there in the real world and mingle with the patients and treat them one after another, after another. And when you've treated so many different patients for so many different ailments, sooner or later you get that feeling, that it's this or it's that. I mean, I did karate for about 17 years, and I had some cartilage taken out of my knee. And I went to my local GP, and he went, I take some ibuprofen. Go away, take some ibuprofen for a couple of weeks. So I did that, and I went back, and he had another look, and he said, right, go away, try and rest it as much, continue with the ibuprofen and put some ice on it and keep it elevated. And I did that. And then he said, okay, I'll refer you. So I waited about 3 months to be referred and went to see a physio. And he said, try these exercises, try these. And I went away. And to cut a long story short, about a year later, I went to see the orthopedic surgeon, the specialist, and he went, I bet you can't do this. Can you crouch down? Does it hurt? He went, right, I know what it is. I do these all day, every day. We can either go for a scan or we can put you in for the surgery and I'll get it all sorted. So, when you're experienced and you've done something so many times, you just get to look at a situation and 9 times out of 10, you're going to get it right. And that's kind of how trading goes, It's a very slow pace, but I see scenarios where I think it's a risk, whereas, a year ago I'd have jumped straight in and lost. But it does very, very slowly. You get better at it. It's like anything. Any type of skill, the longer you've been doing it, the better you get at it. You can't help but improve. But it's such a slow process, and there's such a lot of failures. You do ask yourself the question, am I going to be able to do this? You know what I mean? And I think really, as long as you've got that drive to want to turn up every day and learn and just improve, I'm lucky like that. I don't have to necessarily work hard for it. I'm just naturally, I don't want to lose. You know what I mean? I like the challenge, so I'm lucky in that sense because, if you want, like Mac will say, we trade for the money, not for the buzz, not for the thrill of it. We trade for the money. But, some people will try things a certain amount of time and they'll give up. And that's why there's such a high failure rate. It's not because you're not capable. It's just because it's difficult, and when people get that realism of how difficult it is and how it costs some money, they go, screw this, I ain't doing it. And they walk away, which is why there's such a big failure rate. But it's not because it's impossible. It's absolutely well possible. It just takes longer than you think. I wish Powell would wrap up instead of rabbiting on. But when you do start to seeing things working, you start to get that little bit of self-belief. Now I'm starting to get it. And the biggest thing for me is, or the hardest thing for me, discipline. I used to be awful at. If you look back some of my videos, my discipline was absolutely awful. I actually thought this is going to be the most difficult thing for me. Now it's one of my strongest points. I still have that little impulsiveness now and again. You're umming and ahhing about a trade and you jump in and sometimes it goes against you. That's a little bit of immaturity in the markets. That's a little bit of lack of experience. Although I've been doing this for 4 years, in the grand scheme of trading, it's not you'd only really be classed as a junior doctor after 4 years. So, you would still be growing in experience. But your patience is is one of my best virtues at the moment. Discipline, not too bad, 8.5 out of 10. But accepting the losses, I still don't like it. Now, the few losses I've had recently, I do have Guardian Angel Trader, which will block me after. But I am walking away with no real urge. I wish I could trade on again. I'm kind of just accepting it. So it does help you get out of bad habits because, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Some people are better at other things. There's always someone worse than you. There's always someone better than you. But it is, accepting losses is not easy. It's probably the most difficult part of it all, really, which is why people sort of tend to go on tilt. But if you want this and you keep coming back, you'll get it. Got no doubt in my mind whatsoever. It's just a matter of time. But the sorts of money you could earn, I know a GP, general practitioner, a doctor over in the UK is on about £67,000 per year. I think that's their basic wage. And they work a lot of hours and got a massive responsibility. £67,000 in the trading world is peanuts to what you can potentially earn. So any type of a job that pays so well is never going to be easy. But there are so many benefits to being a trader. Less hours, work whatever you want. No one's ever going to sack you. You're never going to get made redundant. You can work wherever you want in the world. Assuming you've got your own account, there's no overheads. You've got your computer and your internet connection, but everyone's got one of those. So you don't need vehicles, you don't need cars, you don't need insurances, you don't need clothing, tools, none of that stuff. Be careful, my Trade8 connection is flickering from yellow to green, is it? All right, buddy. Yeah, if anybody got Trade8, just keep an eye on it. I know there was issues with Rhythmic yesterday for the first time in a long time. It could just be me. Yeah, I'm thinking of accepting losses may shift me from confidence to read the system. One of the best things I can suggest is if you trade with Ninja Trade, you can get a piece of software called Guardian Angel. I have it myself. It won't let me open it because it's locked, but there it is, Guardian Angel Trader. There are my accounts. If I select one, I have it locked. So the only way I can get into this is between 1 PM UK time and 1:30 in case I need to make any changes. And I have this set to 1 loss. And if I take 1 loss, these will get grayed out. It will not let me take another trade because I've set it like that because, when we're all eating, stuffing down a pizza, we can all say we're going to start on a diet tomorrow. But, when that pizza goes through you and tomorrow comes, you're hungry, aren't you? So it protects me. You can set loads of parameters to it that, if you want 1 loss in a day or 2 losses, you can set a timeout period to stop your trading for 10 or 15 minutes after a trade. You can set monetary losses and you can even set it So it hides Ninja script, so you can't even delete the software. So your Tradeovate, it's okay at the moment. Yeah, got you. So it's a fantastic bit of software to physically stop you going on tilt. You know, because if we take a loss and we go on tilt, and we've all done it, 7 or 8 times out of 10, you're going to end up blowing your accounts. And then tomorrow, when you've calmed down, you're going to go, I'd have done anything for those accounts minus a few $100s. So when it does block you, when you come back the following day, you're nice and calm and you can carry on. So it's a fantastic bit of software. Still talking, Powell. So we've actually cleared out a lot of stops that may have been up here. So is this going to go any further, or is this going to come back? So possible overshoot there. But I'm not getting into a short just yet. So does that look any better now? Actually, that channel looks better now. So let me just so I'm not even a fan of this one anymore, to be honest with this. Let's just bin that. That looks really nice, actually. Push up, sideways to this side, up again, sideways to this side, up again. So I think that's actually a lovely channel now. It fits beautifully. Sometimes you never know. I find sometimes if you squeeze it together, there's no arguments there, is there? System of mine. It's more of a swing. Pats is another icon. Integrate with another system of mine. I'll backtest it. Looks good. And now trading 1 PA. That's a good idea, Sam. I think it's good to have extra strings to your belt, mate. Extra strings to your belt. Extra strings to your bow. Absolutely, yeah. There is one I talk about, whereas we get one of these sort of tighter channels and you get a bearish bar. But I think, yeah, it's good. Keep your main PAs and then use a separate one to try something new. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes when one might be quiet, the other one might make you a bit of money. Absolutely. I think it's always good to have extra skills, extra setups. Yeah, I do look at that one where we get this. I mentioned it a bunch of times, this type of thing. We get one of these, what I call double bar width channels, double width channels. So this kind of being a single width one. Let me do it now. Yeah, so I consider this single channel and this a double channel, which is double width. Whenever we get that pushed down and we get a bullish bar in a downtrend, closing close to its highs, if you just short there, 2-point risk, 2-point profit, crosses over, ticked above, came straight down. So that's a good little, and Al Brooks has it as one of his strategies. I can't remember what he calls. A few people mention it. Sometimes you don't get it much. You've got another one there, and you've got a bearish bar. I'm not sure whether I would consider that one. Let's have a look. Yeah, I suppose so, maybe. Bearish bar. No, probably wouldn't do that. But you get them now and again, and sometimes you'll get a couple within one channel. Sometimes when it's whipping around, there's nothing really. So, I like that channel, but we've actually broken above this now, so my initial thought is not necessarily to think about going long, because it's kind of sideways as well, which means it could fail. Now, I know we've got a channel going up, and majority of the time you'd expect a new high, but sometimes if we hit highs of a range when we're in the middle of a channel, sometimes it will just turn. So I'm always cautious about going long when we've broken out of a bit of a range and then pulled back. And unless we get a leg and a leg, then I may consider it leg down and another leg looking bullish. So I like that channel. Very nice. We got a little channel there with a break and a new high. So I'd like a correction here if this is going to push high. And there's no reason why it can't. Let's look at the 10,000 tick chart. Give us something a bit clearer. So, little micro channel with a break and a new low. Let's just have a play around with this again. Come on, pal. Said it 1,000 times. I have done myself. I bet you have improved, though. You just don't notice it as much. Trouble is, because it's very, very slow, you don't notice it. Right, so channel break new low. Now, I'm avoiding a long here because I see this all the time. We get a channel break with a new low. It traps some longs, and then we get a second leg down here. So I'm waiting. If I think this is going to go higher, I want this to have 2 clear attempts to go lower. Somewhere along those lines. And then I may take a higher low. So sometimes this is a trappy area for me. Now, sometimes it'll break above there and go. But after such a nice, tight channel, and it's a fair, reasonably sized channel. It's not a small channel. It's gone up 25, 26 points. So I'd expect, if this is going to go up, I'd expect a correction. Couple of decent legs, not just that, a break and a new high. Yeah, so it hasn't triggered that on that. Oh, it has on my other one. Excuse me. See what I mean? So if you're thinking, so you'll be thinking, there we go. So we've got a channel break new low, bullish bar, let's go long. Triggers here, comes down, and where do you think that stop's going to go? Below there for sure. You never know, sometimes it won't work, but I see this all the time. Bulls getting trapped here thinking, yeah, channel break new low, let's go long here now. And it triggers you, comes down. I mean, it may hold, you know, it's also trapped a short there, but for me, it's going to break below there. But I would prefer a correction sort of kind of side by side. let's leave that on there till it breaks below there. I think it will. I'd be surprised if it does this and then comes all the way down without stopping, but sometimes it will hold. But it's vulnerable, that is, for me. There we go. So if you took that long, if you're thinking channel break, new low, time to go long now. I mean, we have a break of a channel, there's no arguing, but it rarely, with a channel like that, rarely has a break and pushes straight up. If it has a little break and pushes straight up, it's usually because there's a wider channel in. But that channel fits that nice. I've got no issues. That's a nice channel with a clean break, but I prefer something like this a little wider. So we may go sideways with a little breakout and a drop. But it's messy, this, isn't it? But I used to get trapped in trades like that all the time, but really, you know, it's frustrating when you're learning because you're getting into these trades and it's almost like, sort of feels like you're being watched. And every time you get into a trade, it just knows to trigger you and stop you out. But that's the best way of learning. You know, if someone stamps on your foot day after day, sooner or later you're going to realise it and keep your foot out of the way. You know, you can't help but improve. But it's the best way to learn. And you learn way more from failing and losing trades than you do winning trades. You win a trade, you think you're fantastic. It doesn't matter whether it's a bad setup or not. You think you've cracked it. But the losses, they are painful. And the main reason why they're painful is because usually it's when you're losing money or an evaluation. So it's much better to lose them while you're on a sim. But less is more, definitely. The less trades you take, the better win rate you're going to have. You may think, yeah, but I can't take 1 or 2 or 3 trades a week. Trouble is, if you take 6 trades a week and you lose half of them, you'd be better off taking 2 a week. You know, I'd probably take 3 to 4 trades a week. Sometimes less than that. But my win rate at the moment is pretty okay. That's mine at the moment. I've got losses down there. But my win rate's just under 85% at the moment. So if you take less trades, you will win more. No doubt about it. What I will say to yes as well is post your if you're not in this Facebook group, or is it the Pat's Facebook group? You probably are. Get on here and post your chart every day. This one there. Get on there and post your chart every day and ask for some feedback. So yeah, learn from these guys. Marco knows what he's talking about, and Dan knows what they're talking about. And they post the charts every day, but post your charts and just get feedback. Jope's another one as well. He's been doing this a while now. He knows what he's doing. But it's a great Facebook group, this, if you're not part of it. Oh, so someone's in a long trade here. This isn't ready to go long, personally. Where's his stop loss? Tick below there. Mind you, it may break higher and then come down. But it's just congested here. I haven't got a decent setup on any of my charts anyway, so... but that bearish bar has triggered, so it may go up to this area and then come down for its second leg. And I'm not going to go long until it does, or at least drops out the bottom. And 2 legs, funnily enough, would take it around about close to this area, which, depending on whether you got this bigger channel or not, excuse me a sec, I'm just going to blow my nose. This cold's give me nose run. I won't be a sec. Sorry about that. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, there's no issues with doing a slight variation. I mean, I don't trade a point. I go for a point, so that's a little bit different. But yeah, I know what you're saying. You do get the purists there, I suppose, saying that isn't Pat's. But the trouble is, we all do have a slight variation. I remember when I've had a couple of years where I've joined Max, and I've obviously had a break. But emails I've done with it, he said it's perfectly natural as a trader to be constantly on the lookout for different ways to add to your skill. And I've said from day one that is why Mac doesn't show his trades, because he takes different trades than he kind of shows us, and it's perfect sense. If you're sitting here every day and year after year, and you see these setups, and you just say, the last 50 times I've seen that, it's gone up, you'd be daft not to take it. Someone on this Max forum, yeah. Oh, I don't even bother with Max forums. There's a few idiots in there. I don't know what the names, but I've had a couple of, not fallouts, but I don't know. Some people just... I was saying on here once, now we've discussed Mac's setups many times. Now, I think Mac is an absolute diamond. The small amount he charges to teach people a trade, I think, is brilliant. He's a genuine guy. But I've said a few times, I don't agree with some of the setups that he puts, because if you're marking so many trades in a day, I used to think, why can I not see this many trades? But after a while, Mac will sort of say that he only takes 2 to 3 setups a day, or 1 to 2 setups a day. So you're thinking, well, why is he marking so many? So it's not really a criticism of him. It's just more just saying, I wish he would, that's all. And then I mentioned something on the forum once, and someone crucified me saying I was running down on line, and that wasn't the case. So yeah, you'll always get people. You'll always get people, won't you? Someone will always moan about something. So I just didn't post on there again. I was asking a question about something, and I don't know, I just got a mouthful from someone, so that was the end of it. I had a little argument with him. That was the end of it. Yeah. Yeah. There's so many different ways of trade. People take different styles of trade. It's like anything. When you learn to drive, the driving instructor is taught a specific way to teach you. And then when you're passed, you go away and you adopt your own style. That's the same in every walk of life. You won't get one doctor exactly the same as a doctor. They all have different ideas, different decisions, different this. It's how the world works. So you've got to do what's right for you. But I wouldn't tell anyone they're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, because everyone's different. You do what's right for you, and don't let anybody tell you any otherwise. But there's always someone who'll throw it back in your face for one reason or another. It don't bother me anymore. It used to when I was younger, but it don't bother me. I'll just, I say me piece and just get out of it. But for the most, it's a great Facebook group. You know, I've got to know some people there, and I think it's a trouble is when you're trading by yourself in a room, trading's difficult, and it's emotional drain on you. And it, you know, I've said before in the past. Is he still talking? I've said before in the past. No, he's still rabbiting on. I've said before in the past, it changes your mood. It has with me a lot. Not so much now, but in the past, I know my wife said I used to dread you coming down because you were just miserable and quiet. And when you're trading by yourself all day long, it's nice to share it with people and get little helps and advice, because I used to think it was just me. Why is, you know, you see people posting loads of trades and not many people post the losses, and I used to think to myself, is it just me that's taking losses? Am I crap? And then when you do start talking to other people, you realise everyone is going through exactly the same thing, and it does make you feel a bit better. So it's good to have a bit of support from people, because this ain't an easy business. And if you can share it with a few other people, and I think as well, the more experienced traders need to help the younger ones. And in all honesty, I've had great help and advice, and you know, people have made time for me. So you've got to pass it on. You got to remember where you came from. You know, we all started this somewhere. You know, if there's people out there making money, they went through the same time and place that you've been. Trading makes people depressed. I'll tell you what, it does. I have had times where I've felt down for long periods of time. I don't now, because I know how it works and I know it messes your head. And it's kind of like if you've been in bad relationships, people toughen up, don't they? And it kind of does give you a thicker skin. It's like anything, you know. If you poke a stick at someone enough, sooner or later they're going to toughen up, aren't they? Yeah, no. There's a million ways to trade, and you kind of find your own way there. Absolutely, and that's life. You know, we're all different. You know, we're not all came. You know, we've not all got the same skin. Everyone's different, and you've got to find out what's right for you. But Max said to me, it's perfectly normal, perfectly natural to find other ways of doing things and to develop yourself as a trader. Start with the basics, and then you automatically find your own way of doing things. So I took a trade last week, I did, and I said to Dan, what do you think about it? And he went, I wouldn't have taken it. Now, I thought it was an absolute beauty. And I asked Marco, and he said, yeah, momentum's right, I liked it. But Dan goes for a specific type of trade. I think he said he goes for rejection off the EMA. So we all take slightly different types of trades, and what might be slightly risky for one might not be for another. I absolutely love this setup. It was an absolute beauty. I thought we pushed up, we had a break new high, and then big rejection. But it doesn't follow everyone's way of doing things. So you've just got to be sympathetic to people, and you know, but you do get the purists saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that." But after a while, when you've been around for a while, people leave you alone. They do. A scalp is a cultivar, yeah, yeah. And it's funny actually, Mac. It was a few months before Christmas. Mac actually, for the first time I've ever heard him say it, If you're trading one or two contracts, waste of time going for a point. You've got to go for more because you'll get crucified. Now, if you can afford to go for 5 contracts, 4 as a scalp, 1 as a runner, then I get it. But for me, a points, it don't work that way anymore. ATR's low now, but what happens when the ATR's at 3.5? If you're going for a point scalp, you're going to get crucified unless you're a really good trader. But as a newer trader, you're just going to get battered around the ring. So I think really, my honest opinion is a minimum of 6 ticks. But I would say 2 points to 3 points. Now, I know Dan and Marco go for 6 ticks, but they trade a bit more money. That's fair enough. But I think majority of people go for 2 points now. I know Thomas Wade goes for between 2 points and 10 ticks. I go for a flat 3 points, depending. If the ATR's a bit low, I don't mind taking a couple of points. But, you know, you've got to find your own way. You really have. Why is my thing all of a sudden gone super close? What is going on? That's better. I don't know why that's shot close. So, I'd like to see this push a little bit higher and then come down for a second leg. What do we put that like that? It's quite messy, this, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So probably like that, I think. Fits the most. So channel downside was a little breakout here and down for a second leg. That's what I'm thinking about. That's if I think it's going to go higher. So somewhere along those lines, it would kind of fit with this, wouldn't it? If we can get a second leg down, whether it will or not, I don't know. God only knows. Come on, still talking away there. I mean, it might be enough. Sometimes it'll just push up, but I can't get in long in any of this. You could say it's a failure, but you don't want to go long there. It's really untradeable to go long, really. Certainly on my chart. A lot of times it'll trap longs and then just drop. Trader fell, second entry short, but I've skipped it. Yeah, this is just clearly choppy. And with this push down and sideways, we see it all the time. It's like a mirror image, down, across, and down. Sort of see it here. We go up, we go across, and we go up. We go up, we go across, and we go up. And sometimes it'll take out a few stops here, pick up some liquidity, and then drop and pick up some more. There'll be longs in there, possibly there, certainly there. But sometimes it will push up. But you see it a lot. The more you sit here every day, the more you see this, and it's too dangerous getting into a lot of longs here. Breakout small congestion. Yeah, it's clearly sideways, isn't it? It's not even readable. Sometimes you can still read it, but it's a bit messy. on, give us my move down. Okay, we've ticked above there now, so if this is going to come down, now's the time. Could just go up, but there is some support and resistance here, so if it's going to do it, this is the time. Big bearish bar. I'm guessing that's the move. Big rejection off there. See if it holds. So this is going to eat up a load of stops there, because there's bound to have been people trading that long. There we go. So that's just that sum there. Will come a bit lower as well. So they're the only places I could see that's worth buying. Well, this, I'm guessing because this is low and this, it's probably going to go below there as well. Two scenarios. It is quite ranging, so it could potentially come down. So we'd have to get a break and a new low here and start to work up again before I think about going long. But if you sit here long enough, you just know something like that's going to happen. It's struggling like hell to get up. So you're going to have people thinking, look, it's above this now, let's go long. Bar there, let's go long. Down here, let's go long. Here. Break, new low. It can't come below here. Let's go long. And all of a sudden, woof, down it comes. So, as I say, that one may hold, but they're going to go. They're easy pickings, they are. I'd still like it to come back a little bit more. So, leg down with a break, leg down, take out that. And then get close to this measured, well, I say measured leg. Let's put a proper leg in there. That's about it, I think. So that's kind of the last one. Don't know how many times I've got into trades here thinking I've got to find a way in to get up to the new highs. So below there, and that's cleared out everything there. We have bounced off here, see, so it's hard to know. Signal bar's not great. Al's actually talking now. It's flickering out. So we've got a channel break and a new high. Possibly higher low here. My only concern here is it comes a little bit lower. Now, it has picked off all the liquidity there. I think it's going to. So that may work. Ten ticks. 2nd entry short there. You can bet your bottom dollar there's going to be some stops there. There's no room down there, really. That thing ain't over yet. And the issue I have with that is there's a point in the, it may just eat those up, so there's no, I mean, it may come down for a second leg, but even if it gets down there, there's a point in the court because it's got to push through, so 13 ticks just for that. It's not worth it. So that one's held. So it took out the higher low, but left that one alone. Yeah, it's chopping it. 0.9R on that breakout. Okay, so clearly two legs, but not a measured leg. So the way that's pushing up now, I think that's likely going to get up here. I can't see that failing now. We've pushed down and made a matching low then, a nice strong bar. So if we can get above there, that's paid. I just don't want to get into it, to be fair. 2.5 points. So there's 2 3/4 points. It's got to hit there for me. So we're still talking away. So no, it's not really doing a lot, is it? It's not flickering around too much, just general chit chat. So it's not the type of news. So maybe there is something like that. It's bounced. Well, I mean, depends what you've got there. But it is 2 legs back. Not as low as I'd have preferred, but we've had a little double bottom there and a strong push up. So maybe that'll take it a bit higher. But yeah, it is a bit dangerous, isn't it? So the higher low there triggered, came down, stopped out. But that, I think if you're going to take one, that's probably, well, the lowest, that's probably the safest one. But it nearly got stopped out, but it held. So usually, if it holds, it's usually that strongest position. So let's just see if we can move this somewhere. small breakout here. We often get one this side, so it's a bit of a fun. It's very wicky, isn't it? So it's just, yeah. Had candles in yours. Had better candles. Yeah, it can vary sometimes. See, if you look at this on this chart, you could say 1, 2, 3 triple test, a leg and a leg. So that would seem quite a good position. Bounce, bounce, bounce. So I'll be surprised if price gets below there. Now, it'll try so many times. You know, we've had this breakout the channel. Sometimes it'll make 2 attempts to push up and then it'll fail. You know, it's kind of penguins trade, sort of 2 attempts to go lower and up we go. Or we have a break, 2 attempts to push higher and then down we go. So it's just really a no trade zone, really. Right about here, because the more it sort of chops around as unreadable, the more unpredictable it is, really. But that's certainly, I would have said, the strongest there. Such a boring day. Yeah, we've had quite a few of these lately. It is boring. But yeah, that's the one downside to trading, isn't it? I think when you get days like this, take a break or put a bit of music on or eat something or just or finish early. Sometimes it's, you know, it goes like this. But whether this is just bouncing around because of Powell talking, I'm guessing it probably is. You know, people want to see what he's got to say. So do you just hang tight and wait for a position? Maybe, yeah. The last day's boring, nothing good. Yeah, you all right, are you, Karina? I could always sing a song. It's probably not the best. I haven't got the best voice in the world. Yeah, this is definitely sitting back in it. Ooh. Okay. Off it. Sam, I'm up $100 and I'm simming out now. Nothing wrong with that. You get $100 on a day like this, and that's not terrible, mate. Yeah, sometimes it's actually nice to just watch price and just not get in now and again. Just have a day of complete stress-free. It's not a bad thing. So, channel down, one attempt to push higher, second attempt to push higher. I'm guessing the reason it's probably this. It must be because of Powell's talking. I mean, how long's it taken to do this? We've been going, let's say here, sideways for 50 minutes. So, 50 minutes. It's got to be because of Powell. When did it start? 4 o'clock. Was it 4 o'clock? I think it was 4 o'clock. Oh no, 3 o'clock. Was it 3 o'clock? Yeah, I suppose it was, wasn't it? It must be because he's speaking. Come on, pal. Finish, mate. We've got business here. So if this thing is going to push up, it'll do it from there, I think. That's probably the strongest position. Having said that, this could fail and come down. It's kind of like a penguin-style trade. So we have a break of this. One attempt to push higher, second attempt. Now, I had it as a leg and a leg. My gut feeling this was going to flush down and take out this, which it did. And then usually that's where it pushes up, makes a new high. But we have also hit this area. There's some resistance there. We've broken above it, but immediately failed. We've been up there once and bounced off it. Now we can't seem to get above this. So this could do a nosedive. Oh no, Powell. Come on, Powell. No, he's still chatting away there, is he? He took the second entry short. Yeah. You just don't know, see. He's still talking. Come on, fella. Come on, get it done. Give me a laugh. So let's see if this holds. Channel break. New high. Could be 2 attempts to push high. I don't know. It's hard to say. You just can't trade this stuff, can you? It's just going to chop you up, really. So, yeah. So we got a break. One attempt to push higher. Second attempt to push higher, which fails. Surprised I'm still on. Yeah, it is a bit boring at the moment. So, but yeah, we have hit this area, so it could turn down from here. It's always possible, isn't it? And it's eaten that. I didn't think that was terrible. 2 legs down, big strong move from there, pushed up, eating out some shorts there, but it just could not get above that. So is this now going to take a nosedive? Your guess is as good as mine. Or are we going to get this full leg down? Let's see. Because if there's buyers down here, I've got them with this measured movers down here. So channel break new low. Let's see what happens from there. Powell. He's taking his glasses off now. Oh, that might mean he's done. So this could just drop. So measured move made anyway. Been tough lately, I've got to say. There's been a lack of clear clarity. Good setups, I think. You've had to be a really smart trader lately to cope with these markets. Just take less trades. Trouble is, when there is less setups, you've got to take less trades, and that's when it really pulls on that. It really pulls on that patience, and that's sometimes the first place it can start to buckle. So whenever I find it hard like that, I just try and just keep them patience and just try and sit and just wait. Sometimes you'll get a trade when you're least expecting it. So, is this just rejected off here? Now it's on its way down? Possibly, yeah. But it's also a bull flag, so it could just all of a sudden rocket up. I don't think it will. Yeah, I'd say there's a fair chance this thing could just be reversing. We've tried to get up. I mean, we've had good solid bars. That one, nice, good solid bars there, but it just could not get up. And then we had a good strong move down. So I think there's a fair chance now this is going to continue down. It's not a huge amount of volume today, really, is there? You're required to be patient today. Especially sit through that lot. Excuse me a sec. I'm just going to plug my nose on me a second. Oh, 50%. I mean, there's always the possibility it could continue up, absolutely. It's a bigger leg down than I would have bargained for, but we've got a channel with a break and a new low. My gut feeling is it's probably going to come down. I'd have expected it to push up a little bit earlier than that. So my gut feeling is it's going to come down more. It'll either come down or maybe make some more attempts to push higher. This to me, struggling to get above is a bit of rejection off this level here. So my gut feeling is it's going to come down. But I'd like to see a few attempts to push higher. I may get a triple test, but the way this is starting to push below there, I don't know whether it will. Yeah, we pushed down. A little bit of side was there and then another drop. So my thoughts are this is coming down. Just couldn't get above this. We had some support there. It broke above it there in this channel, but then dropped and made multiple attempts to push up, and then just the arse fell out of it. So this is really just like a range, I think, leg and a leg. So if we can get a break from this bigger one, we may still get an option of a short. Someone's put that. Kind of does fit there, but for me, this is more like a move down. Still talking. How long have I been trading for? Let's have a look. Like one of those days, 240. So give it another 15 minutes, I think, and I might knock her on the head for the day. Slow going here. Now we're out of this anyway. At least we may get something. So we've bounced off that midline there. So if we can get a bounce here, we may get something like that down to these lows. Well, actually, you could even go there. Something like that. A couple legs up and another leg down to the lows. So bounced off that midline. So that we shall see. There is kind of two legs down there, leg and a leg. I'll be surprised if we do go all that way down without having a break. Trump is talking. He's talking tonight, isn't he? About 8 o'clock or 8:30. Yeah. It's just coming back to this. This is where I expect it to get back to. We clearly couldn't get above there. We had that break above there, came back. We tried a few times and it just dropped. I think buyers just gave up. But this now is just looking like 2 legs down. So I think this is where we're going to go. I was kind of hoping for a decent sort of pullback here. If we can get something like this, that will get us down to the lows of the days. I'd be surprised if this just continues down in this channel. But I think the signal's pretty obvious, so it may not even get up to that EMA. It may just drop here. I wouldn't be surprised. Sometimes when you think the thing's coming down, it just doesn't even get back to the EMA and give you an option, to be honest with you. Trouble is, I can't even find a way in there. Taking a short there is just way too far from the EMA. A lot of times that'll just chop you up. And you don't know whether it's going to come back and retest the bottom of this. So there's no way in, really. It's just hit and hope. You don't know it's going to do that. So see if we can get a second entry here. Let's get an order ready just in case.
Order submitted.
Yeah. Second entry short off here would be nice. Till it gets higher. Sometimes if it's that bearish, it just won't even get there. There's definitely some resistance there, so hopefully it may break above there and come down, but sometimes it just go out a little bit and then just drop. I mean, it's fairly obvious it's pretty bearish and it's likely going to come down. Sometimes it'll just have a small break and come straight down. But unfortunately, we've got to get at least a second entry, at least 2 clear legs up. Come on, babe. Up you get. Come on, push up. Up. Come on, let's flicker around a bit. Is Powell finished, is he? Or have I switched something off? No, he's still speaking. Well. Okay, so they're getting up. I'm assuming that's it by the looks of things. He's up and he's walking. Yeah, sorted. Okay. News is done and dusted. So, let's bin that. Leg and a leg. Come on. Need to break above that, and ideally, or at least to match it. There we go. Now drop. No, don't go up. No. That's not what I wanted.
Order cancelled.
Crap. May soon drop. Sometimes it just does that, but you can't really get in here. It's an inside bar. Unless it ticks above it and immediately reverses. And maybe a lower high then. No reverse. Okay, that's not what I was hoping for, but there you go. Okay, I was kind of hoping that on the second bar. It could still move down from here, but it's going to have to be a lower high, I think. We could have it could still work down. Have to get like a triple test or 2 attempts to push higher. It's not an easy day today. Mind you, we say that every bloody day lately. So we need some... this thing to drop if it's going to come down. A couple of attempts. Just going to see if this does move, so I'm looking for something like that. Something like that. A leg and a leg, and then hopefully down. So technically that's played out. So we got a short-term trend channel with a break and a new high. So it could continue up and go on its merry way, or it could come down. It's not looking likely, is it? Flip. No, that's not going to happen, is it? I thought after that big push down, we may get a bit of luck there. It doesn't look like the case, does it? So I think on that note, folks, I'm going to do one today. I might come back for an hour later. I've extended mine to 8:30 UK time, just in case I feel like coming back and doing a bit later. I've still got it set to one loss. Not an easy day today. A huge amount of volume, a lot of, a lot of chop around here, sort of pre-market. Then there's a bit of chop here. We slowly work up, no real settings. Then we spend about an hour or so going there, and then with just the bottom drop. So there's just not a lot of stuff today. Not an easy day, just a bit finicky. And then obviously with Powell speaking, you're welcome, bud. Obviously, with Powell speaking, it's just spent a bit of time just really going nowhere. Couldn't get above this. When that dropped, I thought we're going to get down at the bottoms. Still a possibility, but you just don't know, do you? Sometimes these charts are a piece of cake to read. They just make sense. They do everything, that you'd expect them to. And then other days, they just go in the oddest of directions. But there you go. What can you do? So leg and a leg. Let's see where this goes. So I'm done for the day. I'm going to go and have my dinner anyway. So if you're carrying on trading, best of luck to you. It's Tuesday, so I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great evening. Stay safe. You too, buddy. Stay safe. And we'll catch up tomorrow. Bye for now.